Welcome to the With Winning in Mind podcast. I'm Heather Sumlin along with Troy Bassham. And today I want to know why he's wearing that jacket.
My UTEP jacket, my dirty UTEP jacket.
Your UTEP jacket's got a couple stains on it. What is
I'm wearing this jacket for two reasons. Number one, it's a little chilly today.
It's finally fall in the winter in Texas.
Yeah, it's in December, and it has finally gotten cold.
It's finally chilly.
And so I'm going to be outside working.
Okay.
And I'm like, hey, if I'm going to be outside, I might as well be wearing a jacket. Well, what happens at the end of the year in college?
Bowl games.
Hello, bowl games. And guess who's in the bowl game this year?
UTEP.
UTEP. UTEP is playing Fresno State on the 18th in the New Mexico Bowl.
Nice.
Yeah, they're playing on ESPN Saturday afternoon. So guess what I'm going to be doing December 18th, Saturday afternoon? I'll be watching UTEP.
You're going to be watching some football.
So if you are an alma mater of a program, then support your program, man. I support UTEP. I mean, they don't always have a great football program. I mean, they're not known for it like some of the other, Ohio State, UT, those type of schools are known for their bowl games, and we're not. But, you're talking about a guy that I went to high school, and my 4 years in high school, guess how many games we won my 4 years in high school?
I honestly don't even know.
Regular season games, 1 game, 4 years.
I didn't realize that.
So my freshman year at UTEP, we went to the Independence Bowl, and, I got to experience what it was like to have a winning program. That was awesome.
Did you know I danced in the Independence Bowl once?
Really?
Did you know that?
No.
There was an opportunity I was in drill team my freshman year, and you had an opportunity to, dance in the Independence Bowl if you wanted to. And I did.
Wow, that is awesome.
Was that the year you were there? I don't even know. Did you go? You didn't go.
No, I didn't go to the Independence Bowl. That was my freshman year of college. That was a long, long time ago. But that was really good. I mean, that was the first year that UTEP ever, on the rifle team, we went to the NCAA championships. Never done before at UTEP history. My freshman year, we went. So that was really cool. And then I was All-American that year. First All-American on the rifle team in history. So that was kind of
nice,
kind of cool. So a lot of good memories at good old UTEP. In case people don't know what UTEP stands for, it's University of Texas at El Paso. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know where El Paso is, picture the state of Texas and go as far west as you can, and bam, the last city before you cross the border into New Mexico, that's El Paso. And then a beautiful campus, and I mean beautiful campus. They have done an awesome job at that campus. Got to go there about 6 years ago, and was inducted to the Hall of Fame there, and that was an awesome experience. But what they've done to the campus is amazing.
So let's talk a little bit about this, because you went to UTEP for a purpose. Why did you choose UTEP?
I went to UTEP because they gave me a full ride scholarship to shoot, and I wanted to shoot. I didn't go to college to get an education. I initially went to college because I wanted to shoot, and if you go to NCAA, you get to shoot like in 10, 12 matches a year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, holy cow, man, I want to do that. And then my second year, then that's when it hit me that, oh, wait, I can get an education. I can get a degree. I've been to that point. I just hated school. I wasn't very good at it. I graduated my senior year. I graduated with a 7th grade reading level. I wasn't really good in speech. I wasn't really good in math. I hated reading.
Boy, you had a really great self-image for school, didn't you?
Yeah, but I was really good at shooting, and I had to take this is embarrassing, but I'll share my embarrassment. I had to take the SAT 4 times to make the state minimum to get into a university.
Really?
Yeah, so I was the guy that you don't let go to college because he's probably not going to pass. But what was interesting is when I got there, and what this university did, I thought was clever. I don't know if it was the university or I just got lucky, had the right advisor, probably a combination, but the assistant athletic director at the time was my academic advisor.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he asked me 2 questions. He said, number one, do you prefer taking notes or reading? And I'm like, why? And he said, well, teachers are going to test you based on notes. In other words, their lectures, they're going to test on. So if you're not taking good notes and you don't take good notes, you do not want that teacher. You want the teacher that tests from the book, which means if you like to read and study the book, they're going to test from the book, not necessarily their lecture. And I'm like, no to the reading part. I'll
Okay.
take notes. And he says, okay, do you prefer essay or do you prefer Scantron? I'm like, what do you mean? When you're taking a test, teachers are either going to test you on those two formats. A lot of people prefer A, B, C, D, pick one and go to the next question. Others like to, okay, let me explain my answer. Well, essay's explaining the answer, and the other one is you pick it. Well,
Can I guess?
I will pick the wrong one, trust me.
Oh, did you want the essay one?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Because partial credit is better than no credit.
Oh, that's okay. I get that. Okay.
So he put me with teachers that did those two things, and I had a 3 point something GPA my first. I never had a 3.0 something or.
Right.
I mean, I was a B. I was ecstatic, in school. I was not your A, B student, not because I didn't, try. It just
It was
couldn't.
hard.
But man, I mean, I was cruising. I was like, man, this is not as hard as everyone said it was going to be. Well, one reason because I'm being taught in a way that it's
You can
good for me.
learn. Yeah.
And so that motivated me to learn. And then my sophomore year, I get called into the athletic director's office. By the way, getting called in the athletic director's office usually not a good thing. He says, if you don't pick a major, you lose your scholarship. Well, what does that mean?
That means you can't shoot anymore.
That's right. And why am I there?
To shoot.
So I'm like, I'm going to go. So I went on a long journey and picked a degree, picked a major, and then, got my degree in that.
Well, you
that
picked a
major.
good
So,
major for what you were going to do in the future and didn't realize it.
yeah, I actually didn't pick it. Dr. Rosillo picked it for me.
Okay, tell me. Oh, yeah. Now I have to know the story.
So I didn't know what to major in because I'm not good at anything. So I don't like math. I don't like reading.
They don't have a rifle shooting major.
Yeah. My freshman year, I joke around. I majored in rifle shooting. I minored in billiards. That's what I did my freshman year.
Okay.
I joke with that. And so I went to Dr. Rosillo's office. The reason why is because a friend of mine in the dorms that I was staying at told me that this guy is the smartest guy on campus. Go talk to him. He'll help you.
Oh, nice.
And I'm like, okay. So I went into his office, knocked on his door, and he said, Friday, 1:30, come back. I'm like, but I'm not a student. That's when the students would come. It's Friday, 1:30 is when we're supposed to. And I'm like, I'm not a student. And he goes, what do you want? And I told him I need to find a major, and I don't know what to major in. And I heard that you were the smartest guy on campus, and you could help me. He said, okay, come back on Friday at 1:30, and I will talk to you and bring me back a piece of paper with every job that does not require communication skills, and we will talk.
Oh.
So I said, okay, great, I can do that. So I go back, and I'm spending days thinking about this, and I go back on Friday, and he said, what can I do for you? I said, well, you said to come back, because I'm trying to find a degree. He goes, oh, yeah, I remember. And he says, sit down. He goes, what'd you come up with? Because I gave you an assignment. I go, yeah. And I handed him a blank sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And he goes, you don't have anything written on here? I'm like, yeah, because I can't. Every job, even a janitor has to communicate with someone or knowing what to do.
Absolutely.
He goes, exactly. If you cannot communicate, you're not going to succeed. You're going to struggle. And I'm like, so you're telling me that I should major in communications just because every field has to be communicating in some way? He goes, no, I'm saying that you should consider that because of that. And 2, you should major in speech because it's the only A you got last semester.
Oh.
So I got an A in speech, and at that time they were phasing out the speech program, and they were replacing everyone into communication. So I actually got a speech communications degree.
Nice.
I was the last group that got to get that dual thing, and it put me on the path. He put me in a senior level course my sophomore year, hardest course I ever took in my life. I got a B, and I was so upset. I'm like, how am I going to major in this? I never worked so hard to get a B. He goes, well, you're never going to get an A in that course. I'm not giving a sophomore an A in a senior level class, no matter how good you are.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. But, taught me a lot, helped me, motivated me to get involved, started reading, started enjoying reading more, started studying more and that kind of stuff. So, I had a good experience at UTEP. So, football's over. Bowl games are starting. I'm like, holy cow, they are in a bowl game. I'm going to support the university today. So I'm going to do that. And, they're getting better. They're turning their program around. They got other sports that they're turning the program around. Shooting's not going that great, but
That's okay.
that's all right.
So when I think about everything that you've just said about even finding a major, one of the things and a really good takeaway that you've already given, I feel like, is find the person who has the answers to the questions. Because whenever you have a big challenge, a big struggle, really find the person who can actually help you solve the problem. And that's what you did by talking to him. And then secondly, I would imagine that you had to set some goals. And we're coming to the end of 2021. We need to be looking forward to 2022. What are we going to do? How are we going to decide how we handle this new year? And do you have any advice or thoughts on goal setting?
Well, one, you have to have a goal. That would help, right? We could start different directions. There's one, you got to know what person you are first. Are you a have goal? There's 4 types of people. There's a have a goal person, right? People have goals. A lot of people have goals, but they don't do anything with it.
They don't have maybe it's not truly defined.
Yeah, think about it. I have a goal, but as soon as something comes that distracts me, then I'm just not motivated to move forward. So it's like, oh, am I really going to get there for that? So I had a goal growing up that I wanted. When I found I can go to college and get a scholarship. Dad did that. So it's, at a young age, I knew that, and so I want to go to college to shoot, and so I'm going to do that. But then Dad's like, look, if you don't get good enough to get a college scholarship, then I can't help you because financially, we're not in a position to just send you to any college you want. So I had a motivation to send this. Okay, what goal well, the goal was already set. I want to go to university and shoot on the rifle team, which means I did not want to just be on the team. I wanted to participate. I wanted to go to competitions. I wanted to help build a program and make a program successful. And at that point in time, I had 2 options. I could go to, Alaska, or I could go to UTEP. And UTEP didn't have a very good team. And I this is a good time. I can stay in the state of Texas. I can help the team. I can develop a program there. And it was a challenge for me.
Was it that, or did you just not want to go to Alaska? Because it's cold.
I think that had something to do with it too.
Maybe. But you looked at it as an opportunity to help a team grow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, I didn't just, I had I had a goal. I actually set a goal to say, look, I want to get this, So you have your have goal people, you have your set goal people, but where you want to get to is your get goal. You really want to just jump to the get goal. How am I going to get there? Well, the way I was going to get there was pretty simple. I need to be ranked like number 1, number 2, number 3 junior high school shooter in the country. Because if you are, then all the university, if you think about it, every university athletic program does the same thing. They go after the top athlete.
Well, they should.
And
yeah.
if they can't get the top athlete, they get the second guy, the third guy, the fourth guy. They're going after the guys that are in the top. So for me, it was very simple. Okay, I want to get on the program. Okay, well then the second thing you have to do is you have to have a timeline. Like, when do you want to accomplish this? Well, you don't want to wait until after high school to do that, because then you're like, oh my gosh, now everyone's already filled the programs and I'm late to the party reaching out coaches. So I kind of knew the timeline there, and then I needed to have that done before, I graduate. And then you got to look at the fact of, okay, why do you want it? Because if you don't have, we call it pay value. You have to list the pay value. And I tell people, you need to list, if you can list me 3 reasons why you want something, minimum of 2, but really I want 3, of why you want something, then something will come up and you won't do it. It's got to motivate you. You can't sit there and say, well, I just think it'd be kind of cool.
Well, yeah.
Kind of cool. Well,
kind of cool does not motivate you to do the work necessary to accomplish
when someone says,
goal.
I want to, I really want to win this tournament or this competition. I really want to win. Why? It's because I just want that feeling of being the best. That's a pay value. Because now we're talking about feelings, emotions, something that excites people. I mean, man, what's more exciting than that? So to me, I wanted to go because I wanted to be All-American. Because All-American is first team is top 10. The next 10 is second team All-American. I mean, to imagine you're the top 20 in the country, and there's 1,000 people that shoot rifle in the country. So that's a pretty big accomplishment to say that you did that, and other people, go through the whole career and never been able to do that. I wanted that. I wanted the feeling. I wanted to build a program, and I wanted to kind of be in a situation to where, I'm not with Dad anymore. I'm on my own. And so it was an opportunity for me to do that. Now, once you achieve that, then obviously you want to have other goals beyond that. But the other thing is you got to ask, why don't I have it now? So when I was a junior, it wasn't like I had universities coming to me and saying, Troy, come to our program. And I'm like, well, why? There's obstacles that are in the way. Well, one, I wasn't we shoot 2 events. You shoot 3 position, 22 caliber rifle, and you shoot air rifle. Well, I was good in air rifle.
Do you have to shoot both of those in college?
Have to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll put it this way. If you can shoot both, you're more valuable to me than if you can shoot one.
That makes sense to me. Okay.
So I can give you the same scholarship, and you got 2 disciplines that are helping me, versus I give you 1 scholarship, and then I'm only going to use it for 1. I'm limited on scholarships that I can give out.
Right.
Rifle shooting, you can only give 3.6 scholarships. You have 4 people make a team. Now it's better. Now they got 5, and you get to drop the worst score, which is good. But you're going to have alternates. What if someone gets sick? What if someone gets hurt? What if someone what if they don't pass? That happens. So when you look at that, you're like, yeah, I got to be careful who I give these scholarships to. So my downfall was I just wasn't good in one. I was pretty good in the other one. So, well, what did that tell me? I've got 2 options. One, I got to be the best at one, and forces them to take me, because now you're a walk-on All-American. I mean, how many there's more than 20 programs in the country. There's only 20 All-American spots. That means there's universities that don't have an All-American.
Right.
If you don't have an All-American in your program, what do? Go recruit one.
You recruit a future All-American.
So I'm literally a walk-on All-American in airgun. If I could do that, it forces programs like Alaska, like UTEP to look at me. And then, or I could get better. I could be good at both. I could be great at one and semi-decent or decent at the other one. Well, that's what I was. I was decent 3 position, but I was really good in airgun. And then I developed and got better in 3 position, throughout the years. So the obstacles really are opportunities for you. If you overcome them, are going to elevate you to reach your goals.
Well, and it sounds like you're actually really analyzing, why don't I have it now? Like, what is it that's standing in the way of me getting this opportunity to be recruited by a program?
Yeah, most people don't want to do that because it's a little painful, because you're like, oh my gosh, I got this in the way and I don't know how to get around it.
And it's being honest about what's true about you, because you don't have your goal for a reason. Something's in the way.
And if you don't do that, then you're not going to accomplish step 5, which is develop a plan. You have to develop a plan. So in my case, it's like, okay, what are you going to do? Well, one, I'm going to have to shoot really good at the nationals. And if I shoot really good at the nationals, that'll give me an opportunity to try out for the World Airgun Championship team, which was later my first semester of my senior year. And if I do that and I make the team, well, then now, guess what? I'm probably number 1 high school shooter in the country. They have to look at me, and then boom, end of the year, I'm going to have a scholarship offer. And that's exactly what happened. I shot good enough to get invited. Top 8 shooters in the country get invited for the junior team. I mean, they have an open category, which is for the big dogs. But I wasn't that good to make the big dog team. But when I got to the tryout, I was the only high school athlete. All the 7 guys I'm competing with for 3 spots, they're all in college.
Oh.
So guess what that told me?
You're the best high school shooter?
Well, if I'm top 8 right here, I'm probably top 20 in NCAA. So then that gives me leverage then when I go talk to these universities that, hey, do you have an All-American? No. Have you? No. Okay, well, I'm currently second. I'm currently second in the country right now, or number 1 in the country right now. As a junior, I'm pretty sure I'm walking All-American. What do you think? You want to take a chance on me? I'll get better at this other discipline. So this gave me the opportunity to do that. This plan, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. Now, within that, I've got a training plan I have to follow and other things I have to follow, and that kind of stuff. And so I laid all that out, and I went through it, and guess what? I accomplished it. So, but where people kind of get confused is when you look at goals, there's 2 goals. Let's talk about goals, right?
Yep.
When there's 2 goals that almost everyone tries, and they sound great, but most of the time they don't work.
Well, this is something that Dad's going to tackle too in his goal-getting webinar series in way more detail in January. So for those who are interested in what we're talking about, check out his goal-getting webinar series. Just a little plug there. Since you're talking about this, I'm like, oh, this is so cool. So what are they?
Yeah, he starts out, the first 2 goals he's going to start out is probably these 2. We call it Big Sky Realistic. Big Sky is shoot for Jupiter, you reach the moon kind of approach. And it sounds great.
Yeah.
I hit this huge goal out there. I'm going to strive to go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds great. The problem is that it's so daunting once I start the journey that I look at it and I'm thinking, man, I'm never going to reach the top.
Well, there's not enough of it's so far away from you that you can't even fathom really getting it. So even if you're moving towards it, it's still too far to where you don't even see the benefits. Is that right?
Yeah. And so it's easier for a person to just lose motivation. But can I really see it? I mean, when you're 8 and you're in the backyard playing ball and you're like, man, I'm going to be number 1 in the world kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
What 8-year-old, I mean, nothing's stopping an 8-year-old. It's like your comment about the confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
The Batman t-shirt.
yeah.
Last time? Yeah.
Be like a 4 or 5-year-old in a Batman t-shirt and just like, I'm Batman, you know. When everyone knows, no, you're not Batman. But in his mind, he's like, I can be. But when you're older, and because anytime you start towards and I'm talking about a goal that really means something to you. I'm not talking about, something that is expected automatically. Like everyone expects you to graduate high school, right? So it's like, okay, I graduate. Now, is it a goal for all high school seniors, juniors, sophomore, freshmen? Of course it is. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of expected. I'm talking about things that are a little bit not expected, to where, is it really expected that we're going to win this, or we're going to get this job, or we're going to make this amount of money? Probably not.
Right.
And you're going to have to strive. So if you're like, man, I'm going to be, a billionaire, and you've never had more than $70,000 in 1 year.
Yeah. It's gonna
how can you see that? It's like, wow, it's so far out there. I don't think I can see it. Well, the other way you can go is a polar opposite. Mm-hmm. We call that realistic. We say, okay, what if I bring it down to earth? I'm a realist. Let's be realistic about this. So the easiest one is lose weight. I lose weight.
Yeah.
Doctor said, hey, Troy, you need to lose 40 pounds. Okay, I lose 40 pounds. Well, what's the easy way to do it? Well, just 1 pound at a time.
1 pound a month.
So let's just say I do that. Well, how easy is it to lose a pound? Just don't eat dinner tonight and wake up in the morning and you probably dropped a pound. So it doesn't motivate you enough, or it takes so long to get it because the journey is 1 pound a month. Well, how long is that going to take me? I just lose interest. So it basically has the same effect as the big sky. It's just not as motivating as exciting because it's too realistic. So you really need something in the middle. But everyone tends to gravitate to one of these two. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm not saying they don't. Like if you tried one or the other, it wouldn't work. I'm just telling you, in most cases, it doesn't.
Well, they're just setting the wrong goal.
Correct. Mm-hmm. You need to set the correct goal. And people set the goal. Well, how do I know if I've set the correct goal? I mean, I'm starting this year. This is what I want to accomplish. How do I know if I set the correct goal? It's very simple. Is it within sight? Mm-hmm. Can you see it? Like I can see the moon. I can't see Jupiter, right?
Okay.
But I can see the moon. Okay, great. It's within sight. But is it currently out of reach? Mm-hmm. Right now, the moon is currently out of reach. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm an astronaut. I want to go to the moon. I've been to outer space, low Earth orbit. Mm-hmm. So it's currently out of reach. But you know what? I've gone here to low Earth orbit. What's the next step? Mm-hmm. I can see that next step. I can see, I can get there.
Well, and you can determine a pathway to get there.
Correct.
I think the problem with big sky is it's really difficult to determine a pathway, an actual plan that if you took those steps, you would get there with certainty. That's hard.
Oh, now we're getting into two other types of goals. Are we talking about something that's a replicable goal? Or are we talking about something that's a unique goal? See, a replicable goal is pretty easy and pretty straightforward. A replicable goal is something that you can replicate, hence the term replicable, right? Mm-hmm. So,
like a blueprint, like building a house.
Exactly. Like if you want to get a degree in business from the University of X, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to do exactly what hundreds or if not thousands of people have done before you. Follow this degree plan, pass the classes, and guess what you're going to get when you're done?
The degree.
Boom. You're going to get this piece of paper, and you accomplish getting that degree. Mm-hmm. So that is much easier. It's always easier to follow a blueprint if you have a blueprint to follow. The problem is in sport and in business, oftentimes you're trying to accomplish things that isn't replicable. Yeah. So, for example, if I want to take my team, I'm an NFL coach or an NFL owner, and I say, hey, this year we're going to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I can't just take what Tampa Bay did last year and duplicate that and say it's going to work.
Right.
You know?
It's just like Miss America is coming up next week.
Yeah.
Every single person that is going to be there competing had a different journey to get to that moment. Completely unique experiences.
Yeah. I can't win the same way this guy did.
Right.
Or this gal did. You're going to have to do it. And even if you did accomplish something, so, okay, you won. Great. Now, can you win again? You're probably not going to win the same way. Mm-hmm. If it's not a replicable goal, then it's going to be unique, and not just once, but twice, etc. Mm-hmm. And so we joke because if you take, two individuals and you say, okay, what if you take this person and say you have to train like this person?
Right.
And you flipped it to the other person. What do you think would happen? They would both get worse or better?
If it's a unique goal and you're trying to give somebody the same process, it's not going to work out the same.
No, because they have different strengths and weaknesses. So their
different needs, I would imagine.
Their plan is going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But what do? We see people that take a unique goal and they put a replicable goal in there, and they try to treat it as a replicable goal. And like, well, if I just do it this person, I see this happen in academies a lot with the younger academies, is, hey, we're going to do this drill because it works for these professionals. And I'm like, yeah, but you're talking about 15-year-old athletes. They're not professionals. They're 15. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I appreciate where you're going, but they're not going to be replicate that when we're talking about a guy that is in his prime and is ranked top 30 in the world. And you're asking a 15-year-old that's an average, athlete to do the same thing? I'm like, that's daunting.
Well, they have a completely different set of circles. Like when we look at mental management, and we have, in order to be balanced, your conscious, subconscious, and self-image must be balanced. I'm imagining these players, they have a different self-image, they have a different skill set. They're probably a little bit more easily distracted. There's a huge difference in how to build them.
Yeah, and think about it, that affects the plan, because what did you just mention? Obstacles. Mm-hmm. These are obstacles in my way. Well, you're not going to have the same obstacles that someone who's older and more advanced than you have.
Right.
But if you're looking at it from a standpoint, okay, if I want this, how am I going to get there? Well, in many cases, you're not going to get there the same way other people have.
I think there's value in studying how other people have done it in order to see the options that are available, but not trying to duplicate what somebody else has done.
Yeah, it's like the Talent's Overrated, Talent Code, Outliers, those type of books that really came out, and studies have been done as for what makes athletes great or individuals great. Right. And I think it was Talent Overrated where the author talks about Amadeus. And like, was he really good? Was he really a protege? Well, think about it. What did his dad do for a living? What did Amadeus's dad do for a living?
Oh, I don't remember.
He was a composer.
Oh, okay, there we go.
That's what he did for a living. So when this guy was like an infant, what is he hearing? Music.
He's been exposed to it.
Yeah. So because what did you do back in that day? Whatever your father did is probably what you're going to grow up and do.
Isn't that interesting that that's what happened to you?
Yeah, and exactly. So he had thousands and thousands and thousands of hours listening and playing music at such a young age. And they discovered, across the board, if you want to get really good at something, how many hours do you have to give it? You have to give it 5,000 hours. And if you want to be great, you have to give it 10,000. Well, that's all skill. We're talking about subconscious skill. We're trying to develop skill. Okay, now take that, and now we're talking about a little kid. By the time he's 12, he can do what his dad does, as good as his dad can, in some cases maybe better than his dad can, because he done all this negative history. He has all this positive handprint. So now the self-image basically has been built equally to the skill level he has. And then what does dad say? Dad's like, wait a minute. People pay more to watch him than me compose. And then bam, here you go. Mm-hmm. And you take different athletes and different professions, like, okay, was this guy really good, or did they do these things? Well, they did these things. So if you want to get good in skill, you basically have to give time. Now, I'm sure there's other nuances in there. I mean, you got to work on the right things. Mm-hmm. You have to develop fundamentals and that kind of stuff. But if you gave time, you definitely increase the probability of this. Well, That is replicable. If I can get 5,000 hours into this, I'm going to be good. Okay, that's probably replicable. But what's unique is the pathway to that. Because like you said earlier, everyone has different strengths and weaknesses and that kind of stuff.
I also think you got to remember and recall. We mentioned earlier about the why. Why do you do it? What's in it for you? Why does this goal matter to you? And it's remembering your why along the path to the what, to what you want to accomplish. And if you're not constantly recalling why you're doing it, you might not have the motivation to continue the plan.
And that's why you have the pay value. Mm-hmm. And that's why pay value is number 3 and not number 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. If you can't address the why, what's the point of having a plan?
So we're talking about the 10-step goal setting system that our father, Lanny Bassham, talks about and teaches, and that he will be teaching in that goal-getting webinar series next month.
Yeah,
but he'll go through all 10.
We just gave you the first 10. I mean, the first 5 of the 10. Yeah.
We gave you the really shortened version of what they are.
Yeah, in abbreviated format. Yeah, he goes in a lot more depth and that kind of stuff. But what's interesting is when you go through all the steps, it's not good enough. You have to now go get it. And that's really the big thing is people are like, oh, what's different between, a set goal person and a get goal person? The one person that we didn't talk about was the no-go person, because anyone who's watching this is not that. Everyone who's watching our podcast have a goal. Mm-hmm. So if everyone's wondering, wait a minute, they said 4 and they only mentioned 3. Well, the first one is no-go person. We just we don't see those people. Mm-hmm. The have-go person, the set-go, and the get-go are the 3 that we see. And a lot of people want to be successful. Everybody who wants to be successful in life, they have a goal. Mm-hmm. They just, I don't have any clue how I'm going to get it. The set-go person is one that kind of, okay, I'm gonna write this down and put it down. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna start working towards it.
I feel like it takes discipline to be a get-goal person.
But a get-go person is the one who did the 5 things we just mentioned, and now they're moving towards it, and they're actually, okay, what are they got to get this thing and make it happen? Because anything worth getting, you're gonna have things that happen that are going to steer you away from that. Do you really want to do this because it's going to require this? And there's a lot of people that are going to say, I don't want to do it.
I remember Dad says sometimes, if you're not inundated with problems, your goals are too low.
Yeah, they're too small. You need a bigger goal.
That's
you don't
right.
have enough problems.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if you have problems and you're reaching towards a goal and you have a goal set and it seems like you're having struggles and hurdles and obstacles, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, he would say that's a good thing. He would definitely say that was a good thing.
Because you're growing and you're stretching and you're changing and you're moving towards something that matters to you. Yep. Keep moving. Keep moving along.
And you're going to run into things that are going to challenge you. And they're going to say, look, if you want to do this, you got to go down this road. And you're like, okay, that road wasn't there in the plan.
That road's rocky.
I mean, I figured, okay, I'm going to... I accidentally kind of followed Dad's footsteps in rifle shooting, but that wasn't the original plan. The original plan was go to college, go to the Olympic Training Center, and then make the U.S. team and go for the Olympics. But, when I graduated, when I was finished with college, my eligibility, I shouldn't say graduated because it took me 5 years to graduate. I had 15 credit hours I had to finish.
Oh, it took you 5 years to finish those 15 hours?
15 credit hours. Took me 5 years to finish 15 credit hours. So, to get my degree.
Well, you were just adding it on to your already stressful
life. Yeah, that wasn't
life.
a part of the plan either. But, I got married. I went to school for 2 years, took a year off, and got married, and then went back, finished 2 years of eligibility there, and then the Army Marksmanship Unit, which Dad had been there since in the 1970s. He was stationed there. It's where a lot of the top shooters are, they go to, and they've developed a lot of people. Well, this cat's not going to go in the Army. I mean, my dad did it. My granddad did it. They could do it. I just don't like people telling me what to do.
You really thought you were going to...
No, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to do that. There's no way I'm going to do that. Well, the problem is if you're married or have a family, you can't go to the Olympic Training Center because they don't support families.
Oh.
If you're single, they have a dormitory situation that you could stay there, right?
Right.
But they don't have like apartment complexes that are designed for a spouse and children.
Right.
So now we didn't have any kids, It wasn't until a couple years later that we we brought a first kid in. So the first couple of years, everyone was like, "Oh, well, where's the kids? Where's the kids?" Because you got married so young, and like they couldn't believe that people get married because they want to be married. So anyway, I'm in a situation where it's like I get a phone call from the unit that Dad was assigned to, and that my grandfather actually was assigned to, years before, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. There's no way I want to go to the Army. But the reality is, if you want to see how good you're going to be in the sport on the international level, on a national, international level, the only option you have is this. Now, what do you think I have to do? I have to revamp the plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't want to do it. But a lot of people would have sat there and said, yeah, I'm not doing it, which means what? They gave up on it.
Well, you probably looked at it as this is a detour. This is the best way to get to where I need to go because it's the only option really that works for your lifestyle.
Well, it was the only option. And then what I didn't like is I had to go in their terms. I had to go now. I couldn't wait. I couldn't finish my degree and then go in. That was one issue because now I'm coming in at a lower rank. If I went in with a degree, I'm an E4 instead of an E3.
Okay.
Different in treatment, different in pay. And then I go in there. I have to enlist. I can't, so what's the probability I'm going to make money? I'm not going to make money. Unfortunately, I was in the military from 93 until 01. So the whole time I was there, we never got a pay raise. We got an increase in as far as inflation. You got a 1.5% or 2% increase for inflation, but you didn't quote pay increase. Right. So it's like the school district my wife works at, they made a big deal about 2% increase in pay. I'm like, you didn't get an increase in pay. They're trying to catch up with inflation. And then now it's like 6%. I'm like, you got a decrease. You got a decrease in pay. So when I looked at that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to make any money. Is this really worth it? And you have all these things pulling you away from what? That main goal. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I go back and I have to do the same thing. Okay, well, what's the pay value?
And
the
again,
pay value is the pay value worth this? And at the time, I said, yes, the pay value is worth this.
It's back to reanalyzing your why.
Yeah.
Why does this matter? Why do I want it? Absolutely.
Yeah. Be careful of the person who's very driven because they will probably be successful.
Or become the person who's very driven so you can be successful.
Yeah. So
I like it.
Yeah. So with that, when is this this webinar kicking off? Do you know the dates?
It's on Tuesdays. We're going to do Tuesdays in January, first 3 Tuesdays. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Central Time. And all of the information is on our website, mentalmanagement.com, and just go to webinars. And it's the goal-getting webinar. And with Lanny Bassham as your primary instructor, I'm going to help him on some of them. He's going to have someone else fill in the last one because I have to do a seminar in Florida. So I'm so excited.
So cool. So if you haven't done any type of goal-getting course or so forth, even if you don't do ours, I would highly recommend that you do that. There's a lot of good books and courses written on goal setting, goal-getting stuff. But
what I like about this webinar series that Dad's doing, we did it last year too, and what I really enjoy about it is you can ask him questions not just during the actual webinar, but you can submit questions in between. And he does a really good job of making sure that everybody's questions are answered, even if he has to go a little bit longer than planned. So I highly recommend it. It's worth every penny.
Sweet. That's going to be exciting. Kick off the new year in a good direction.
Yeah, studying goals with an Olympic champion. I think it's a great way to go. Well, we want to encourage you to not only set your goals for 2022, but be disciplined to get them. And if we can help you in any way on your journey to whatever is next, let us know. Go ahead and like this episode if you do, and subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to seeing you later.